Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to a reaction video that I feel like I had to make because if you don't know, we cover a lot of Pokemon fan games or ROM hacks over here on this channel. It's pretty much like the primary content over here that's not a new game whenever a new game is not even around. Hey, you know, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. I saw this video and I was like, oh my God, I have to watch this. But I was like, wait, before I watch it, let me go ahead and do a reaction on it and just give it to you all. This is Did You Know Gaming's Nintendo Lawyers versus Pokemon Fan Games. Now, if you don't know, Pokemon fan games and just fan games in general of Nintendo games have a humongous, like, long history. And I mean long history of back and forths, whether it's from the companies at the Pokemon company, Nintendo themselves. Sometimes it's like a random guy who's just on Twitter. I don't know what's going on, but listen, hit the like. I'm gonna leave the original video if you want to watch it in the comment section below. I'm just gonna be giving like my little feedback and stuff and my little personal experiences here and there regarding this topic specifically as we watch the video. And then with that being said, hit the like button for the boy. Hi, if you like Pokemon fan games over here, you might like the content. Go check it out. I got a lot of stuff. Hey, somebody in the comments, vouch for me. Is the content good? Let me know. Let's get into the video, bruh.
Did you know that there are thousands of Pokemon fan games free to download online? And not even 1% of them.
Yo, look at Volty. Volty made it to the Did You Know?
With cease and desist or otherwise struck down by Nintendo and the Pokemon
Caesar, man.
Some of them were amongst the best fan games
Prism
ever made, however. Pokemon Prism, Pokemon Glaze, heck, Pokemon Uranium got nominated for the Game Awards. It might have won, too, if Nintendo hadn't gotten it pulled from the running.
Wait, what? Wait. Uranium got nominated from the Game Awards? Really? Okay, that's cool.
In real life, I'm a lawyer, but I also make videos on my own channel.
Oh, this is a lawyer.
Did You Know Gaming brought me on for my legal expertise and I'm told my calming vocal presence. In this video, we're going to look at the history of lawyers versus fan games and what made that unfortunate 1% so special that Nintendo went after them while the rest were left unscathed. We talked to the fan games creators to get their side of the story, see the legal documents they were served, and learn a little bit about their games.
Oh, this is going to be great.
Enough. But first, let's hear from Jana Sheep. She owns PokeCommunity.com, a site that's stored and distributed Pokemon fan games for the past 2 decades.
Listen, this is hands down one of the best websites known to man. Though I gotta be honest, I would love if Poke Community kind of like updated their like website, because it's kind of looking like Cerebi a little bit, where it's like it's looked the same for a very long time. They change like the banner all the time, but like, you know, the banner's cool. I kind of just wish the interface was better, you know what I'm saying? But maybe that might add too much to the, I don't know. The website is like 20 years old now at this point. Who really cares, bro? I'm my fault.
Home to about 5,000 fan games, only about a dozen.
I think a lot more than that.
Of Nintendo.
I think a lot more than that.
Down because they gained too much attention or advertised online too heavily.
Yeah. This was a lot of the games a lot of YouTubers covered that hit like millions of views and like, you know, were on like pirating websites and stuff like that. Some of those were taken down like almost within that year they were out. It's just kind of crazy.
Told us. Others had their own websites and socials which may have been monetized, but monetizing is the worst idea for a fan game creator, especially in the Nintendo space.
100%.
There's no definitive list out there of every title targeted by Nintendo and the Pokemon lawyers, but it seems they didn't strike down virtually anything fan-related until the mid-2010s.
Yeah.
That's when they started to get more protective, aggressive with regards to Pokemon IP. Like in 2015 when they sued some fans for hosting a Pokemon.
Let me see. Pokemon Company International, 2 Seattleites on Wednesday claiming they broke copyright laws and organized a theme park to mark. Huh? The tickets were cost $2. It was a feature an amazing Pokemon mashup theme shops. Oh, this is like a regular little, like, okay, a little small event, nothing crazy.
Themed party with a $2 cover charge.
This wasn't even a fan game. This is an event.
Multiple lawsuits against websites for showing scans of TCG cards without their permission.
Oh my.
Stuff like that. But it wasn't until 2016 that they got serious about taking down fan games, starting with one that was both monetized and got a lot of attention, more than its creators ever could have dreamed of.
Yeah.
The era of takedowns truly began with Pokemon Uranium, a fan game so popular it's got an entire Bulbapedia-style wiki dedicated to it. It was more than a ROM hack, developed over 9 years in the RPG Maker.
Can I just say this game has aged really good depending on who you're asking. This game is actually like done a lot, like for the community, really good.
XP engine, it added 166 brand new Pokemon species along with a new type, nuclear Pokemon. The 3 starters were grass/steel, fire/ground, and water/electric types that only evolve once, but each have a mega evolution to make up for the lack of a 3rd stage. As for the plot, the player's mom disappears after an explosion at a nearby nuclear power plant, so you're sent to live with your aunt in the Tandor region, which is mostly based on Brazil. We won't spoil anything past the beginning, but we will say everything in Tandor seems strangely suspicious, especially the radioactive legendary threatening to destroy the world. Uranium's got everything you'd expect in an official entry, like online trading and battling, plus more, like built-in Nuzlocke and randomizer modes. The game launched summer of 2016, and in just its first week was downloaded by over 1 million fans who hadn't gotten a new game since Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire 2 years before. Yep. Even mainstream outlets like IGN were covering it.
You know, I remember this. This was like that dry space. If you don't remember, there was a time where it was Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and it was leading into like Sun and Moon, but it was a humongous dry spell. And like at the time, we were just making a lot of things. We were just making like a lot of content, a lot of like let's plays were being made, a lot of like videos were being made, a lot of versuses were being made, randomizer Nuzlocks. We did all that stuff. Like 2015 to 2018, 2019 was like nothing but like, whenever there was a dry spell, you just had to throw anything out there, like anything out there, and if it got views, it got views. If it didn't, it didn't. You never know what the hell you're gonna get with this type of thing, you know?
No, a vertical slice. It's a whole big full-length Pokemon game.
It's an entire Pokemon RPG. I really just want to take a moment to appreciate the 3rd gender option there with the they/them pronouns, which is just something you don't see in Pokemon games. Oh, did you hear that little meow?
Yeah, that was very cute. Wow, I can't believe they did like cries for everything.
You can find it on PokemonUranium.com. So give it a shot. It's really, really cool so far.
Reviewers loved it. Like CG Magazine, who scored it a 9.5 out of 10 and called it a mature evolution of the Pokemon franchise. More interesting than anything official games.
Pokemon Uranium is insane, by the way.
Uranium's the game
this is crazy.
Longtime fans deserve. It didn't take long for Nintendo to take notice. We talked to Uranium's 2 main creators, JV and Oripoke. They said a week after launch, they got served a DMCA takedown notice which effectively ended their ability to share download links. They figured, okay, that's kinda scary, but we can still continue development and just release patches for the folks who already downloaded it. There were some glitches they needed to fix, post-game content they wanted to add, stuff like that. But things took a turn for the worse a few weeks later when Nintendo served them a cease and desist. A C&D is basically a legal document with a list of demands. Literally, a list of things you have to cease and desist doing.
Oh my.
If you don't comply with them, well, you might get sued. They found
for millions of dollars.
Sent a letter to my house and had me sign for it and everything, Ori told us. We immediately pulled the plug on the website and went dark across all social media. Our tenure as developers of Pokemon Uranium had come to an end. She showed us Nintendo's list of demands. Basically, never share download links again, delete your website, cease development immediately, and don't make another dime off Uranium. Before release, the Uranium website had ads and a donate button to help pay server costs, along with a Patreon pulling in $20 or $40 a month. It wasn't much, but it was enough to make their legal situation more precarious. So they did what pretty much anyone would do in that situation. They gave in to Nintendo's demands. Pretty soon after all of that went down, Uranium got nominated for the 2016 Game Awards in the Best Fan Creation category. But Nintendo shot their nomination down too, along with one for the popular Metroid fan game AM2R. The Game Awards producer and host Jeff Keighley addressed the controversy in one of his live streams.
I understand it's their intellectual property. Different game companies will deal with fan creators in different ways, but because we couldn't clear those games for the show, we had to remove them. I can't risk the entire show being taken down
Keeley'd go on to say Uranium and AM2R were amazing, and he hoped their creators and Nintendo could find a way to work together someday. That never happened, obviously.
I want to say
But we were
things. I want to say
curious how
things.
turned out for the Uranium devs after they rode off into the sunset. In spite of how things turned out, they were proud of what they'd accomplished. JV even heard Uranium discussed on the radio driving home one day. He never expected his Fangame would get any mainstream attention, let alone so much of it. He told us, in the end, Fangame development led to me being a head of product in a huge financial tech company in Brazil.
Oh,
What I do in my day-to-day is very similar to what I used
but yo! What are we doing? What are we doing? That's a dubski. That's so cool, bro. You went from making Pokemon fan games to like being a part of a tech company. That's a lot of money too over there. That's crazy. I like that. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Nintendo, I hate you so much, bro. My fault.
Very successful.
My fault.
Ori, she landed in a proper career too, and also does pixel art live streams. We'll drop a link if you want to tune in. You might be wondering what happened to Uranium itself, though.
Pixel art.
Too late? Can it still be found?
Okay.
Well, after the band broke up, a new team picked up the pieces and pushed forward. They fixed the bugs and added more languages and extra modes like different kinds of Nuzlocks. We don't want to narc with specifics, so we'll just say it ain't hard to find the latest version online. The current team's headed up by a couple of new folks, Iron and Unknown Entity, along with dozens of volunteer artists.
Hey, shout out to the guys, bruh.
Before long, they're going to release a post-game expansion that was originally dreamed up by JV and Ori, who couldn't finish it themselves due to the legalities. So in the end, I guess you could say Uranium not only survived the fallout, it's lived on, better than ever. And thankfully, Nintendo's shown no interest in nuking what's left. That said, after taking down Uranium, Nintendo started going after other fan games too.
They took down Pokemon Brown. Speaking about that, did you know Pokemon Brown, as of today, it is 9/7/2024. Pokemon Brown is 20 years old. One of the oldest fan games that you can find on the internet right now is Pokemon Brown. And it sucks that Pokemon like Game Boy Color games don't really do well on YouTube, because I would love to. And there's so many Pokemon Brown playthroughs on YouTube now. I love to do like a little video. I might do like a one joint video. I don't know. I don't know. I love this game. I've never played the game either, so like I would love to like do it. But I literally saw it on the I think the team had like posted that Pokemon Brown is 20 years old. I'm like, that's cool.
Brown was sort of the first complete ROM hack that felt like a whole new adventure and helped inspire thousands of ROM hacks made ever since.
Millions.
It originally came out in 2004 as a hack of Pokemon Red, but with a new story and set in a new region called Region. And yes, that is the correct pronunciation according to its creator, Cool Boy Man. The region
I thought it was a Raihan.
Based on the San Francisco East Bay area in California, though the geographic inspiration was toned down so Region could get relocated south of Johto to allow Brown players to visit southern areas like Azalea City and the Ilex Forest. The story takes place 6 years after Gold and Silver and follows the humble beginnings of a young trainer as they collect 8 badges, take on a resurgent Team Rocket, and ultimately become the region's champion. Like I said, it's a classic old ROM hack, so the plot doesn't mess with success and mostly just remixes what came before. Brown doesn't include any fake mon. The initial release only had the original 151, while updates over the next decade added 74 more from future generations. Some new elemental types were applied to pre-existing Pokemon as well, like wind, wood, and sound. There are new cities, gym leaders, and music. It's basically just more Gen 1, and thus appeals most to fans seeking 90s nostalgia. Unfortunately, Brown got hit with a cease and desist in late 2016 along with both of its sequels. That's right, there's a whole trilogy of region games and Nintendo went after all of them.
Damn, did not know that at all.
The nitty-gritty of the takedowns shortly. But first, let's take a look at Brown's direct follow-up. Prism's a hack of Crystal.
Wow, I did not know that. Wow.
Is the child of Lance, the Dragon Master. The story starts on a camping trip with your mom, but you soon get separated by a landslide. Then venture into a dark cave where you find.
I knew about Prism, but I didn't know Prism was a Brown sequel. That's interesting.
Starter for this adventure. From there, you'll travel the world, get thrown in jail, blow up caves, build bridges, and lots more in your journey to reunite with your mom and eventually your estranged father. Naturally, you'll collect badges and unravel the region's mysteries along the way. Prism's mostly set in the Naljo region, but if you want to collect a dozen more badges in the post-game, you can also return to the region, along with parts of Kanto, Johto, Sevi Islands, and the Tunod region.
Damn!
Tunod's the setting of Pokemon Glazed, which was in a sort of shared universe with Cool Boy's trilogy. Nintendo eventually went after Glazed, too, but we'll get to that later.
Really?
The full Naljo Dex is comprised of 240.
That is what happened. Why do I remember that?
First 4 generations plus 5 brand new
I think what happened to me was I think that like people were so like caught up in like Uranium getting taken down that like while Uranium was getting taken down, a lot more games were being taken down too. Uranium was just the biggest one. It's also weird because I think Glaze got attacked like years after Uranium, and it sucks too because Glaze was one of those games that just was so popular way before Uranium. Glaze was like 3 or 4 years before Uranium, and Glaze before that was like Light Platinum, and before that I think was the Ruby Destiny series, and then before that I think was Brown. Like a lot of these games, there are a lot of thousands of games, yes, but like there were games that just popularized the medium 100%, and like you can't even like, it's just so interesting to see that like we've gotten this far as like a community and stuff. Shout out to them, shout out to the guys, the hard workers, do it for free. Please.
Prism also adds new features not seen in the original Gen 2, like full character customization, being able to run and playing as your Pokemon in certain sections, all packed in a highly polished wrapper with lots of callbacks to series history and lore, running at a brisk 60 frames a second. Just like Uranium, Prism was developed for about 9 years up until 2016. A couple of months before launch, a release trailer racked up more than 1 million views on YouTube. Right after that, a playable beta debuted on Twitch Plays Pokemon, a channel with hundreds of thousands of followers, who beat it over the course of a couple of weeks. All that was a lot of attention for a ROM hack, on par with what Uranium achieved a few months earlier. Prism was gonna release on Christmas Day, but just 4 days before, Nintendo sent Cool Boy a cease and desist letter. We'll flash it up on screen if you want to read it, but to summarize in layman's terms, it basically said, hey, it's cool you love Pokemon so much, and we know you're not making any money. Nintendo appreciates the dedication and passion of its fans. That said, we know who you are. We've seen your website. We have your Facebook. And this ends now. Before Christmas. So
we know who you are. We know who you are. It's like, bro, get the hell away from me, man.
Pokemon Prism and never share what you've made thus far. Number 2, delete all download links. Number 3, just go ahead and shut down your whole website while you're at it. Number 4, confirm for us in writing that you've done all that. And number 5, never use our intellectual property ever again. You've got 48 hours to comply, or else. Cool Boy wondered if he was being made an example of and told us it was devastating, especially so close to the release date. Prism was a free game that I never profited a cent from. It was a passion project fueled by my love for the Pokemon IP. I still support Nintendo, especially since there's thousands of people who work hard to make great games.
I want to know, like, what would be, like, a really good way to, like, monetize your development. I think that a good way, that it would probably be through YouTube. And it would be one of those things where it's like, hey, you know, cause, you know, there's plenty of channels that cover fan game stuff now. If, let's say, for instance, I wanted to make a fan game, right? I would have to, like, either be like, hey, guys, if you want to support the fan game, support me. And then people would, like, donate to me, and that would ideally give, like, that YouTuber more space and more time and just more everything so these games can be made. Because it kind of sucks that, like, you know, these games, you don't get money for these games. So a lot of the time, that's why a lot of these games don't really get, like, these games don't really get completed. So you just sit there and you're like, okay, I don't want to finish this game. I'm not doing anything. Plus, real life happens. So I think, you know, having, like, an extra, like, couple of cents coming in would be really good, especially if it's on YouTube. You can do there's YouTube channels that have, like, a whole documentary on their like fan game process development and like updates and stuff like that. The only issue is a lot of that times like that stuff is very like short content. Like it's like 5-10 minutes, maybe 3 or 4, just little small updates here and there. But I think if like, you know, they were to like monetize like their time and stuff, I think it'd go crazy.
But when you have unofficial games on the App Store with ads and microtransactions, it'd make more sense for that to be their main priority. Regardless of how he felt, he ultimately gave in to all 5 demands.
It's so crazy. There's still so many of those Pokemon mobile games that like are just out there. You can go on a mobile app right now and you'll find a Pokemon, like maybe like 10 to 20 fake Pokemon games that all look like either Sun and Moon or all look like Pokemon Go, and they'll just be like weird MMORPG-esque. And they'll like, oh yeah, put $20 in our game and you'll get like an Entei or something like that. It's very weird. It's a very weird place on mobiles.
And there. Cool Boy spent 8 years making Prism, but in the 9th year, he got help finishing it, meaning some other devs also had access to the files when it was 99% complete. We won't get into the who, what, where for legal reasons, but after Nintendo's letter, one of those devs leaked Prism's source code online. When that happened, a team called Rainbow Devs picked up the pieces and finished Prism's development. With the thinking basically being, hey, Nintendo said Cool Boy had to cease and desist, but they never sent us a letter, so we don't have any legal obligations or liability whatsoever.
Pussy!
Then they released it, and Prism went on to become one of the most beloved fan games of all time. Not only that, but they've continued updating and adding content up to this very day. They also made it open source, so if something happened to them, someone else could come along and take their place. They've taken Pokemon Brown under their wing too. In fact, they released a major update for Brown this very week, fixing bugs, grammar, and adding new stuff too, like Galarian. All to celebrate this year as Brown's 20th anniversary.
Okay, hold on. I might have to... We might have to do we might have to do a playthrough, gang.
Say all's well that ends.
I ain't gonna hold y'all.
The trilogy's 3rd game wasn't so lucky. Pokemon Region Adventures was a Fire Red hack taking place 15 years later in the timeline. It was developed simultaneously with Prism, though mostly under a different creator, a guy named Haruki Hanai, with Cool Boy serving as story consultant. You play as the child of Brown's protagonist, collecting badges in a new and expanded region heavily affected by the passage of time. A little more of Johto was reachable as well. Various upgrades were made to the Fire Red engine, like modern XP calculations, the physical/special attack split, Pokemart inventories that scaled with your badge count, and more. Betas were released in the late 2000s, but when Cool Boy got C&D'd, shutting down Region Adventures was a stipulation in Nintendo's list of demands. As a result, the game was never finished, and big chunks like more Pokemon, cities, and an entire extra region based on Australia never got released, even though some of it had already been developed. As you can hear, it didn't end up with a unique soundtrack either. Presently, no one's working to complete Region Adventures, but series fans can still go back and play the betas, which were finished up to the first 8 gyms in Pokemon League and managed to win Poke Community's Hack of the Year award in 2008.
There was somebody on the Poke Community and I guess like a blog spot, and he called himself like the ROM hack fixer, and I think he's the one that fixed Pokemon Sienna too, and he also fixed like a couple of games or whatever. I wish he would come back and like, cause there's a lot of games that were supposed to finish but never got finished. It sucks, and like even obviously this is not at all even close to being anything like, you know, breathtaking like the other 2 games. I guess it still would have just been cool, you know?
As for Cool Boy, after his forced retirement from ROM hacking, he went on to have a career in the games industry, working for big studios like Electronic Arts. Currently, he's working on an animated pilot called Power Saurians, and also trying to get his own IP off the ground for a console monster tamer, the Wuxing. And he works for EA? Yo, that's so beautiful, bro. I love that. For y'all who don't know, ROM hacking, despite my personal feelings towards some of the ROM hacking space, it's just certain developers. They're kind of assholes to me. I do love when like they're able to turn this, because at the end of the day, it's all about passion, right? Like for me, this YouTube thing is a career choice, but if this YouTube thing ever like fails or like I get too old to be doing this, you know,
I could go into, I don't know, video editing for one of these big companies. I could do like a media personality for some of these big companies. I can do so much through this because of how much time I've spent just being in a space that I kind of curated myself. And like, this is pretty much the exact same thing where it's like, oh yeah, I spent so many years working on this game that never really got to see the light of day, or maybe got cease and desisted, or maybe like I never got money from it, just for me to know enough to get me into the entryway to go work for like an actual company. Like one of my friends who's actually a viewer of mine at one point had actually, just finished up school, and not even like a month after like graduating, he got a job at Epic. And I saw him like make his video games. I saw him make his movies and stuff, make his animations in Discord. I saw him do this, you know, and things like that is so cool to me, because it's like, wow, imagine making your own things and just doing these for like schoolwork and stuff like that, and just any free of your time or whatever, and you get a job at fucking Epic or fucking EA or fucking Sony. That's insanity. That's crazy to me, dude. That's fire. That's hot. That's hot. That's hot. I'm sorry.
We also want to thank the trilogy's current producer, Kip from Rainbow Devs, who caught us up on recent events and helped make sure everything's accurate. There's more games coming up, but first, some of y'all are probably wondering, why did Nintendo suddenly get so litigious in 2016? Why not a decade earlier when Brown and other ROM hacks first rose to prominence? We talked to a Pokemon Company lawyer, who you'll see in a future video. But for now, the relevant part of our interview is that summer 2016 is when Pokemon Go came out. Nintendo didn't want gamers going to IGN, seeing several Pokemon fan games like Uranium and Prism, and then end up downloading one of those instead. They wanted all eyes on Pokemon Go, so they made Uranium and Prism disappear. Simply put, they had the misfortune of getting great press at the wrong time, and despite being free fan games, executives still saw them as eating into the company profits, so they sicked the lawyers on them. To be clear, they could have sued the pants off them straight away, but the cease and desist were a courtesy, a way to let them off easy, and also to prevent the Pokemon Company from getting a lot of bad press for dragging their own fans into court. That
didn't work. That didn't work at all. Nintendo, yo, I'm already blacklisted. I don't give a damn. Nintendo, y'all are you are the worst company to work with ever. I remember somebody saying something to me. They were like, oh, you only play Pokemon for like the money or something like that. And I'm like, do you not realize how dumb you sound? If I was playing Pokemon for the money, why would I choose a niche within a niche? Please tell me why I would cover Pokemon fan games and ROM hacks when Nintendo themselves don't even like the damn medium. There is quite literally companies that would not work with me because I cover Pokemon fan games. I can't do Pokemon Company things because I uploaded. Do you really think if I wanted money that I wouldn't be sitting here covering like the Then We battles, or sitting here going nuts on like Pokemon Unite, which I play to this day? You know what I'm saying? Do you really think if I was doing it for the money and the notoriety from the Pokemon Company and Nintendo, do you really think I'd be covering fucking Pokemon fan games, fan game content? Because Pokemon is already a niche online. It's the highest grossing media on the platform, of all time, yes. But on YouTube, Pokemon don't get that much views. I hate to break it to everybody here. There's only a couple of YouTubers that cover Pokemon content that get a lot of views. And even then, those are all like either variety content that where anything they do is always really good anyway. Who cares, right? But then Pokemon specific channels, they're either TCG guys. They're like, I would say like a J-Witz equivalent, like video documentary guy, like that. Documentary. Oh my goodness. I'm too passionate in this. But like there's literally a small handful of creators that get views through Pokemon. Not make money like via like livelihood stuff, get all that necessity, whatever. I'm talking about like actually being on trending tab every now and then. Or doing there's not a lot of people doing that, dude. And if I wanted to make money, why would I not do that instead of playing fucking Pokemon I don't know, Vanguard or Apollo or Rejuvenation? Why would I put my career or whatever at a risk, especially when these companies, Nintendo specifically, just recently shut down a Fangame website. Why would I cover fan content? Like, that makes no sense if I was doing it for the money. Nobody's making money from this. They don't want people to make money from this. Nintendo sucks. Every other game company loves their fan games. They embrace their fan game community. Some companies even hire the fan game developers. I'm sorry. I got way too passionate. I'm sorry. Let's continue on. I'm so
on the front page of IGN either. As for Brown and Region Adventures, they got caught in the crossfire due to their connections with Prism. Later takedowns occurred for different reasons, which we'll now examine, continuing in chronological order based on the takedown date. Roblox is a game that a lot of older gamers are vaguely aware of, but have never played.
You were not going to get this
on. Won't go into too much detail, but all you really need to know is that it's an online creation system where users can make their own games inside Roblox that other people can play. To say that it's popular would be an understatement. Recent figures show Roblox with 164 million monthly active users, including half of all American kids under the age of 16.
Yep.
You heard that right. Half of all American kids play Roblox. So, of course, some of them made their own Pokemon games in Roblox, the most famous of which was Pokemon Brick Bronze. Mostly made by two brothers, Brick Bronze launched in 2015 and played pretty similar to a mainline Pokemon game. After picking any starter from the first 7 generations and finding out your parents have been kidnapped by Team Eclipse, you're off to explore the Roria region and collect 8 badges. There was also the Trade Resort and Battle Coliseum for trading and battling with other players. Over time, nearly the entire National Dex was added through updates along with Mega Evolutions and Z-Moves. It's hard to overstate just how big a deal Brick Bronze got in its heyday.
It was big.
It had millions of fans.
I remember, I'm not going to say who. I remember because I was the only person in my group of friends that was covering like fan game and ROM hacking content a lot. Like the people that I like used to watch a lot of them were like Munching Orange and Shofu. I was in like that section of the internet or that section of like content creation. And like one of my friends who didn't even do YouTube, they're like, you should play Pokemon Brick Bronze. You might get millions of views from it because every single Brick Bronze video was doing numbers. And that's probably one of my biggest fumbles like ever. That and Yokai Watch were definitely one of my biggest fumbles in my like YouTube career. There's like 2 other things, but like this was like I probably should have did this for 100%.
800 million
those
logins.
Those videos still go crazy.
Massive views. Mainstream press was covering it, and the game was making a lot of money. It was free to play, but full of microtransactions for everything from Master Balls to extra PC boxes. Want to use XP share? That'll be 5 cents. Increase your odds for finding shinies? 50 cents. If you recall, attention and especially monetization are the 2 things most likely to get a fan game in trouble. The Pokemon Company let it slide a few years, but in 2018, the Brick Bronze team announced they were getting forcibly shut down. There were other monetized Roblox games like Project Pokemon that also had millions of players. Some of them included literally gambling for Pokemon with real money. But pretty much all those games got shut down too, one after another. These weren't cease and desists, by the way. They were DMCA takedown notices, basically Nintendo contacting Roblox and saying, "Would you be so gentlemanly as to shut down these games, please?" And Roblox said, "Of course, happy to." Because they've got millions more games and they're not going to risk their whole operation just for a few copyright infringers. So that was that. Afterwards, a lot of the creators went on to make other Roblox games, like the Brick Bronze brothers, who made a direct sequel called Lumion Legacy, which is still set in the Roria region, but now with legally distinct monster designs. As for the original Pokemon games, they're long gone, but various remakes and homages are constantly creeping up within Roblox. We won't call any of them out for legal reasons, but if you're a former fan hankering for Roblox Pokemon, they're not that hard to find. 2020 saw one of the most coincidental cease and desists that just so happened to land in the lap of one of the weirdest fan games. Out there on the internet, there's a site and social media app with an edgy sense of humor called iFunny. It's hard to...
I'ma say it, and they gonna attack me, I get it. There is a Pokemon iFunny fan or ROM hack that is on YouTube. There's a trailer for it right now. That trailer has a couple thousand views. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that game, I was going to play the game, and I remember within the first like 30 minutes, the N word came up like 4 or 5 times. Then the F word came up, and I was just like, you know what, this is not. It'd be different if it was Pokemon Clover, where a lot of like the content was more like blended in with the Pokemon experience. This was just outright just cringy. Like it's like it's not even funny. Like I'm gonna be honest with you, this shit was trash. The game itself, it looks beautiful. It looks really good. Like on the surface, the game looks great. The content of the game is really garbage. I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's only because of the extra stuff that I won't be playing it. It's probably even the same game, but like, who cares, man?
Sum up in a single sentence, but basically it's somewhere between Instagram and 4chan.
Man.
A comparison that I'm sure both sites will hate. In 2017, some of their users started making a Pokemon fan game. iFunny's logo is a smiley face, so they called it Pokemon Smile. It's a fire red hack set in the America-themed F-Funny region with a Pokédex comprised entirely of Fakemon based on iFunny in-jokes and broader internet memes. We talked to the former lead dev Greaseball, who said it's rooted in the 2014 era of offensive humor and similar to 4chan's Pokemon Clover. The gameplay structure's a bit different, though. It's more mission-based, with plot points that are exaggerated retellings of moments in iFunny history and NPCs based on real-life internet personalities. Basically, it's a time capsule meant to recapture the feeling of being an iFunny user in its heyday. The Smile devs chugged away for a few years, but then in 2020, the Pokemon company suddenly announced a new mobile app for teaching kids how to brush their teeth. This official game was called Pokemon Smile. The Pokemon company might not have known the fan game even existed until they discovered the URL for PokemonSmile.com was already in use, and basically a landing page for an offensive game trailer. We're avoiding showing the worst of it. Understandably, they wouldn't want parents confusing this with the official Pokemon Smile. The legal situation actually got kind of complicated, with Nintendo initially trying to sue. But long story short, a settlement was eventually reached with 3 stipulations: that Greaseball's team cease Smile's development, that they never use Nintendo IP again, and most importantly, they had to immediately transfer PokemonSmile.com over to Nintendo. The Big N was seemingly more concerned about the site than the ROM hack, but shutting down the game ended up as part of the agreement. The legal proceedings dragged on for longer than expected, so the transfer actually happened after the official game released. Here's what PokemonSmile.com looked like on release day, and here's what it looks like now. After the settlement, Greaseball got the legal papers printed on a t-shirt and wore it around for the lulz. He was 17 at the time of the legal proceedings, by the way. After Greaseball ran off, development was restarted from scratch by a guy named Slimebox, and rebranded as Pokemon Noon. A year ago, they released a 10-hour demo that goes up to the second gym, and they've got a collaboration with 4chan's Pokemon Clover coming up, with both games soon to include crossover content from the other.
I hate this game so much.
Only the beginning of the game is deliberate edgelordism, and gave us a private peek at later content currently in the works. And honestly, objectionable content or not, it's hard to deny that they're putting in insane amounts of effort into their ROM hack. There are currently about 24 guys who say they've only gotten more ambitious since the shutdown. The soundtrack alone is already about 100 tracks. At their current rate of progress, they're hoping for a full release before 2030.
Kanye.
In early 2022, a fellow...
I hate that game looked good, bro, but I know the game it is. I was gonna upload a whole... those iFunny games, man. Y'all got it. Y'all got it, bro.
Dragon tweeted out this footage and said, "Last month, I started working on developing a Pokemon first-person shooter." The tweet immediately went viral, racking up over 100,000 likes and retweets. IGN, Nintendo Life, heck, even USA Today wrote articles about it. In less than a week, the footage was gone. Pretty much anyone who reposted it, their footage was gone too. We're actually kind of nervous including it in this video, to be honest, but whatever. The point is, lawyers found the footage and didn't like it. Pikachu and his cuddly friends getting mown down with machine guns aren't the sort of visuals that they want associated with.
And then Power World came out. You know what I'm saying?
Nintendo didn't sue him or even send a cease and desist.
They just
zapped him with a DMCA takedown, which is a lot less scary than a C&D, since you don't have direct contact with a claimant and you're less likely to end up in court. Dragon said he had nothing but love for the company that got him into game design and was going to continue development, minus the Pocket Monsters. A couple of weeks later, he tweeted a video of what looked like a roguelike FPS where, quote, you travel to different worlds, upgrade guns, and fight bosses. It only got 150 likes this time. After a while, he changed it to an online multiplayer game which garnered even less attention. We reached out to Dragon for comment, but never heard back. Though we did find some tweets where he seemed discouraged that an indie dev could get stadiums worth of attention with a quick asset flip, but absolutely nothing from a game that they poured their heart and soul into.
That's how the game goes.
Short, it doesn't appear his game ever came out, nor is it currently still in development.
That's how the game goes, bruh.
Pokemon Glazed is a ROM hack of Emerald, first released in 2012.
One of the most
pretty legendary as far as
one of the most iconic Pokemon fan games, ROM hacks to man. This game, man, I wish I did like a little like I wish somebody would come in and they would put Pokemon Glaze on like a better Pokemon Emerald, like the new Pokemon Emerald engine. Cause this, man, I feel like this game can still be updated to this day. And Glaze Reborn is cool, but Glaze Reborn is kind of whatever. At this point, it's I would like an actual like updated version of Glaze at some point in the future, maybe.
Games go one of the very best, and another winner of Poke Community's Hack of the Year award, which is why its setting, the Tunod region, was included as a Game Boy D-make in Pokemon Prism. Tunod is donut spelled backwards, because originally the landmass was a circular island with a C in the center, thus looking like a donut. That's also why it's called Pokemon Glazed. Tunod's geography changed entirely over the game's 5-year development, but the names stuck. Tunod's located west of Johto, which players can fly up to in the post-game. It's not the same Johto you remember, though, thanks to Mount Silver's eruption destroying cities, changing the climate, and necessitating new construction. After New Johto, there's Rancor, a small island chain region similar to the Sevi Islands. As far as story, Glazed takes place a few years after the events in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. You're tasked with foiling Team Fusion and their foolhardy CEO hell-bent on exploiting legendary Pokemon. And of course, collecting up to 20 badges, conquering 3 regions' leagues and a variety of rivals, one of which is a scarf-wearing Pikachu. For your starter, you get your pick of 5 Sinnomon: Turtwig, Chimchar,
This takes me back
Shinx,
seeing
and
this
Riolu,
game, bro.
with the rest of the Tunod decks totaling over 400 Pokemon from the first 5 generations. Glazed was made by a guy named Luke Bui, but years later, some new blood came along, a fellow who goes by the name Trainer X493. When we talked, Trainer X said it was Brown and Prism that first got him interested in playing fan games. Then, quote, in 2018, when I played the legendary ROM hack Glazed, I ended up seeing all the simple but easily fixable flaws, like that animated sprites were disabled. I originally did it just for my own playthrough, but I quickly decided I wanted to release the patch to the public. Luke Bui'd been out of the scene for years at this point, but Trainer X found him and asked permission to continue the game's development while staying faithful to the original. Luke Bui was tickled that anyone would care so much and happily gave his blessing. So over the next few years, Trainer X added more Pokemon, fixed bugs, made a litany of modernizations, and a heck of a lot more. Suffice it to say, nowadays folks who play Glazed have both of them to thank for a legendary game that's gotten even better with time. But in 2022, Glazed suddenly got taken down, along with 3 other ROM hacks that we'll get to in a minute. A DMCA takedown notice was sent to PokeCommunity.com where the games were available for download. PokeCommunity couldn't show us the letter because sharing some of its contents was against the law, but they were willing to quote excerpts and confirm that yes, these 4 games were specifically targeted. It was definitely a bit of a blow, Luke Bui told us, but also sort of an achievement since it got on Nintendo's radar. It had gotten popular enough that one of Nintendo's lawyers was able to stumble on it. Glazed had a good, solid run before the DMCA, and it influenced a lot of folks. Even today, I meet people who played it as teens. It certainly would have been more devastating if it had gotten the axe before it was finished. Truth be told, the takedown wasn't as bad as he thought. It only demanded those 4 games removal from Poke Community, but didn't stop the creators from uploading elsewhere or continuing to make ROM hacks. so Trainer X kept on hacking ever since and is currently working with Rainbow devs on a remake of Glazed that'll expand the story and forge more connections with.
And nobody told me! Yo, that's hate, yo! What the? I just said that, yo! Somebody, please! Oh my God! What? I just found this out today of all. Yo, what's good with you, man? DM me on Twitter now. What? Yo. Glaze one of my. Yo, okay. No, I mean, I'm being so serious. Hear me out. I'm about to get real emotional in this. But yo, real talk. I want you all to know, and this is all facts. Listen, I swear to God, this is all real. I will go get my old friends if I have to. I'm gonna go get Nexus, Jay, everybody. So back in the day, I was quite literally, it was me and this other guy, I think his name was like Mega Ampharos or Ampharos 500 something. We were the only people that were playing Pokemon Glaze at the time. And I remember Pokemon Glaze being like the most popular playthrough on my channel. It was like every video was getting like 5,000 to 10,000 views. I had maybe about like 2,000 to 3,000 subscribers at that time, and I was uploading every single day, and it was getting so many views. And I remember, I think I was like maybe like 15, 16 years old, bro. I remember we were doing it was the X and Y round table, and I was like really high when we were doing it. And I remember I deleted that playthrough, and I was doing a Pokemon Blaze Black playthrough at the time as well alongside it, and they were doing so good. I deleted them because I was just like deleting videos that like didn't do good at the time, but I deleted all those videos, and I was so upset because I couldn't redo it. I even contacted my social media manager, couldn't get those videos back, and so I had to redo Pokemon Glazed in like 2017, 2018. And obviously that series didn't do that good at the time because everybody at that point had already played through Pokemon Glaze. And then obviously I redid it like recently or whatever. But Pokemon Glaze, dude, oh my God, dude. Oh my God. Dude, I love Glaze so much, bro. I love Glaze so much, bro. Oh my goodness, dude. Dog. Oh my God. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry, y'all. No way, bro.
As for Luke Bui, he traded in his spurs a long time ago, but says ROM hacking led to his current career as a senior software dev at a major airline.
Let's go!
We discovered Luke.
Let's go! Yeah! What's up?
Bui's
yeah!
achievement wasn't what it seemed. It turned out Glazed hadn't gotten popular enough for Pokemon lawyers to find it. We'll reveal the truth later when it'll make more sense, but for now, all you need to know is that the ROM hacking community believed these 4 games were chosen seemingly at random. Unlike Cool Boy's trilogy,
I don't think
there
it was
nothing
random.
tying these games together. A mysterious takedown from a company who, until now, almost never struck down Fangames. Another of those 4 DMCA games was Pokemon Flora Sky. It's set in Hoenn, but completely remade with new towns, gym leaders, and a story that draws from Emerald, as well as the movie Giratina and the Sky Warrior. It's an Emerald hack with a few upgrades thrown in, like a day-night cycle and being able to teleport and change the time of day at any Poke Center.
There is a time in like 2010, 2011, maybe 2012, where this game is like the second best Pokemon ROM hack. Because I think this game came out around the same time Light Platinum did. And I think Light Platinum was, it wasn't finished at the time. But like I remember like this game was finished because it's really just Emerald, right? Those 2 games like went back and forth for like being the best ROM hacks of like ever. Like you probably don't remember it, but there was a time where this was like it. Real
It
talk.
also gives you the choice of Gen 4's starters with hundreds of more Pokemon to catch from the first 5 generations. The game was released in 2010 by Sky, who self-inserted their own persona as the rival character. A popular hack for its time, Flora Sky hadn't received continuous updates like other games covered in this video, which made its inclusion in that 2022 takedown more than a decade after the game's completion remarkably puzzling to its many fans. The same could be said of Giratina Strikes Back, a well-reviewed Ruby hack completed in 2016, where you start with Eevee and collect 11 badges in the Luno region. Along the way, you'll also need to thwart Team Genesis' evil plans to conquer the planet by releasing Giratina from the Distortion World. It's pretty story-heavy compared to most ROM hacks and has some very unexpected crossovers with franchises like Metroid, Star Wars, and Digimon. But we won't spoil more than we have already.
I like this
Incidentally,
game.
those kinds of crossovers do increase your chances of attracting Nintendo's legal attention. That's not the reason this game got hit, but it's worth keeping in mind for ROM hackers who want to stay off their radar. Back to GSB though, there's lots of familiar Pokemon as you'd expect, but Luno's also home to over 60 brand new species. Other alterations include being able to run indoors, new tile sets, and thankfully, all trade evolutions switched to evolving via Moonstone, which you can buy plenty of at shops. The guy who made Giratina strikes back over 5 years, a fella named Slew, told us since it was just a DMCA, he's not gonna stop hacking. He released Scorched Silver just last month, actually. We've been too busy making this video to check it out, but Let's Players have been singing its praises.
Look at me! Yo! What? Yeah! Yo, what? Yo, this is fire, bro. You could have put the other one. Yo, let's go, man.
It's the
Shout out my
Johto
G.
journey in a dog's age.
Shout out my G Slew. Amazing Pokemon game. If you haven't played Pokemon Scorched Silver, please tap in. I got a playthrough over here in the channel if you want to see it. But tap into Slew. Slew, we cannot wait to see what you do next, my good sir. If you need anything, let me know. You know?
The last of
Yo!
those 4 DMCA games, and definitely the black sheep of the family, was Pokemon Stranded. A fire red hack with no gyms, no badges, no trainer battles, Pokemon centers, or hardly anything else you'd expect in a fan game. Instead, you're stranded in the Sevi Islands in sort of an open-world survivalist situation. The islands are full of mysteries, side quests, and Pokemon you can interact with but mostly can't catch. You can catch some Pokemon, though battling's hardly the focus. Instead, you'll spend most of your time exploring, crafting, and so on. Stranded was made by a guy named Entaro and released in 2020. There's plenty to play, but it is technically unfinished.
I was supposed to play this
Entaro
game.
promised to add more side quests, and presently the game doesn't even have a proper ending. That didn't stop it from racking up millions of views on YouTube.
My Z Zwiggo, stop playing with him. I love this video. This video is really
Illegal
good.
action only seemed to amplify its notoriety. Entaro last updated the game in late 2023, and though he's kinda disappeared in recent months, last he was heard from he was still working on it. Some of you are probably typing comments at this very moment saying Nintendo ninjas must have got him. But to reiterate one last time, this was just a DMCA takedown which didn't preclude him from continuing to develop, release, or publicize Pokemon Stranded. He just can't do it on Poke Community. Though I should note, legally every fan game is infringing copyright, and Nintendo or the Pokemon Company can sue you at any time if they so choose. That said, they almost never act on their right to do so. It's bad PR to sue fans, so unless ROM hackers are profiting or damaging sales of official games more than any other fan game, historically, your chances of getting dinged are close to nil.
Right. I promise you, if Nintendo was to ever sue a Pokemon fan game developer, even like a YouTuber, for like something as light as this, they can do it, sure. But like the amount of press would go so it gotta be somebody big too. Like it can't be like no like nobody. Though I think you probably get like the sympathy post, but like I think 100% they can get stuff shaking in a very bad way.
If you're a Pokemon fan,
yeah,
you've
saw this
probably heard
coming.
of Pal World. Many accused it of being a ripoff or said it was just Pokemon with guns.
It was.
Especially after some were upset that it sold 25 million copies, the same as Scarlet and Violet. Nintendo hasn't gone after Pal World itself, but when it released in early 2024, they did go after a Pal World mod. YouTuber Toasted Shoes got a pre-release copy of Pal World and paid some devs to mod Pokemon into it. They finished it before the game was even out yet. Then Toasted posted footage on his social media accounts. That's kind of his shtick, having mods made and showing them off. But this time, he flew too close to the sun. His Pokemon quickly went viral and got mass coverage from mainstream news outlets. Just 12 hours later, Nintendo had already seen it and hit him with a DMCA takedown. Again, that's getting off pretty easy. When we talked to Toasted Shoes, he said they just contacted Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube and told them to delete the videos. In most cases, that's all the DMCA takedown really is. Rumors spread that he was selling the mod or putting it behind a Patreon paywall, but he insists it was always his intention to release it for free. It didn't make much difference to Nintendo, though. Palworld already had their full attention, so of course the moment Ash Ketchum and friends got inserted and hit the front page of Kotaku, they were gonna know.
Yeah.
And they weren't gonna stand for it. Understandably, after all the hubbub, Toasted was too scared of getting sued to upload the mod anywhere, free or not. Presently, it remains dormant on his PC, and no further legal action was taken. We said earlier that only roughly a dozen Pokemon games have gotten zapped, and that's true, in that only a dozen were specifically targeted. But a few months ago, hundreds of ROM hacks got shut down all at once. Or, to be more precise, the site distributing them got shut down. If you're a regular Fangame player,
the fact that I'm gonna say this too, because obviously, like, you know, more information has come out about this as well. The fact that Relic Castle got hit, but not Poke Community, is still weird to me. Still weird to me. I don't know the details of it all, but like, it's just a weird. This is so weird. I still don't. I don't know.
Yourself at Relic Castle. For the past decade, they've been one of the most popular homes for new and interesting Poke hacks. But in March of 2024, they suddenly got hit with a DMCA takedown notice. Go to reliccastle.com today and this is all you'll see. It's gone. We talked to the site's owner, Marin. He said he doesn't have the time or energy these days to fight it. So, sadly for its fans, it ain't coming back. All its games were backed up though, and another group's currently working to upload it all somewhere else on the internet. We won't say where, cause you never know who's watching these days. That said, Relic Castle fans shouldn't have trouble finding out by word of mouth.
Oh, but I do. I know exactly where it's
at. They were home
at.
to roughly 500 fan games, which is only a tenth as many as Poke Community and less than many other peers as well. He doesn't know why they were singled out. Nothing was monetized or got unusual amounts of attention lately, so why them? Well, it seems that what actually happened is that they were chosen by an artificial intelligence. Marin showed us the DMCA claim, which was initiated by a company called Tracer, acting on behalf of the Pokemon Company International with their authorization. Tracer's website says they use, quote, AI curated to protect and grow your intellectual property assets. They send out web crawlers to hunt for copyright infringement.
They used an AI?
We got in contact with Tracer and did some outside fact-checking to make sure the DMCA was real. Long story short, it's legit. It seems the Pokemon Company really is using AI to enforce copyright laws, which is ominous news for Fangame creators. It's expensive to have lawyers track down ROM hackers and serve them legal documents, which is part of the reason why it so rarely happens. But especially as technology develops, AI could potentially find you in seconds for pennies on the dollar. Digging deeper, we discovered Tracer was also responsible for the DMCA that took down Glazed, Stranded, and Giratina Strikes Back.
Right.
That's why those 4 games got chosen and not the 5,000 other ROM hacks on Poke Community. It wasn't a human that randomly picked him out of a haystack. It was AI. So mystery solved, I guess. And just looking around online, it seems other creators might have been hit by Tracer as well. And more of these AI companies keep popping up at a quicker and quicker pace, representing brands like EA, Viacom, and Tetris. Maybe this is the start of a new era the world over where AI rigorously enforces all copyrights across the entire
This is bad. That's bad, dude.
And not just ROM hacks, we're talking the whole kit and caboodle. Or maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves.
That's bad, bro.
These AI takedowns are relatively recent, so it's too soon to know what happens next. Oh, don't get us wrong. The dystopian future is coming. You'll be watching AI YouTube videos and dodging robot lasers before you know it.
You already watch AI.
Long enough timeline.
The AI YouTube videos are already on. Like there's channels that do like robo voices, literally covering Pokemon fan games and ROM hacks that are quite literally reading off their feature lists and their summary, and then making it 8 minutes. And then just promoting that like website to like some like, I don't know, like some scam website, or it's already there. It's already over, bro.
That Pokemon lawyer we talked to, he said AI is the industry's future. But for now at least, ROM hackers hopefully don't have too much to worry about. Nintendo and Pokemon's reputations portray them as some of the most litigious companies out there, striking down every fan game they can find. But the truth is, aside from Relic Castle, only a fraction of 1% of games have been targeted. Mostly, it's just the ones that were monetized or released promotional videos that got millions of views. And even out of those, most of them weren't stopped from uploading to different websites or continuing with different developers. We should mention, there were a few more games we didn't cover because their creators asked us not to and didn't want the attention. That said, there are thousands of Pokemon fan games, but you could count the number permanently killed off on one hand.
That's true.
Suing fans is terrible PR, and Pokemon knows it. And if it's any comfort, Nintendo and Pokemon have been using Tracer AI for 2 years already, and so far, takedowns are still at a trickle. If they wanted to, they could rain down hellfire, but they haven't. For the sake of the passionate fan gamers, we can only hope that it stays that way, and that humanity can hold back the coming AI apocalypse for at least a little while longer. God, I hope this video doesn't age poor. Did you know that there's thousands of Mario fan games, but only 15 got struck down by Nintendo?
You know, I was gonna, like, at some point in my YouTube career, I wanted to branch out outside of Pokemon fan games, just cover every fan game, like Mario fan games, Sonic fan games, Zelda fan games, even the Metroid fan game. I wanted to cover like a variety of like Nintendo fan games. But damn, dude, that was great. That was a good video. Really informal, you know, informational. Folks, I'm talking about. Let me know how y'all like it in the comment section below. It was cool to go down memory lane and seeing all these games, just revisiting just life, dude. Oh my goodness, dude. It's just a different time now, dude. YouTube's so different now. But thank you all so much for the support over the years. I said this before and I'll say it again, like, you know, there's a time at some point where Nintendo might take down a lot of these, like, you know, these ROM hacks and fan games, and maybe they do go after the YouTubers. It would go bad for them, I think, personally, but like, once the thing is done and the damage is dealt with, it's like, damn, what do you do, you know? I don't know. It's just a very, very interesting time, and hopefully we never get to see that time. Hopefully you get to see my ugly mug, you know, forever, and until I stop doing YouTube and you just have me as a time capsule, you know. But I don't know, this is great. This is a good video. Be sure to go check him out in the description if you're interested in like support this video and that video, please, because this was a great video. And I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. Love you guys.